3, 2,
2, 1.
Welcome to the King's Court. This will be part 2 of our Wicked podcast. And, well, what did you think, Lizzy?
I thought it was brilliant. I've been a fan of the musical since it first was released on Broadway. I've seen it probably 23 times on Broadway.
Holy cow.
And I was I was living in New York at the time. So it was really easy to get out there and be part of the lottery system.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. It was.
Sorry, we didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Teresa. I am a criminal defense attorney here in Houma, Louisiana. And Teresa King Esquire is the name of the law firm. And Lizzy is a somewhat new addition to our firm. I hired her in June.
Yeah, we are almost to we are creeping along to our 6-year work anniversary.
6 month.
6 years is not right. Is not correct. 6-month anniversary. Just feels like 6 years.
You were so ready to argue with me.
I had to think about it for a second. I had to repeat it. I'm Lizzy King. And I work for Teresa. We are not related by blood.
Kindred spirits.
Kindred spirits. Teresa is the only other person that I know who gets as excited as me about putting on a costume. So Teresa will do anything for the bit. I am also a criminal defense attorney here at this firm. I am her associate, and I'm very grateful to be here and to have this podcast as an opportunity to both raise legal issues, talk about some fun popular culture things, and use the comparisons in order to make the criminal justice system maybe more approachable for people.
Yeah, more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And the parallels are astonishing when you start to think about things that you consume in the context of the criminal justice system. And we thought it would be really fun to start with Wicked.
Yeah.
And good versus evil. It's been really fun to explore different conversations along the way. So in the first episode, we talked a little bit about how you can change or attempt to make change from the inside versus the outside. Right. And we didn't talk about this little piece in the first movie where Elphaba questions Glenda, you're offering to help someone you don't know with skills that you don't have. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about how that seems a kind of like the white savior thing.
Yeah,
like,
the white savior complex.
You want to help, you don't know how to help, and you're like purporting to help or saying that you believe in a cause, but like what actions are you using to follow through?
Absolutely. I think I also want to say that we're going to be getting into some spoilers from Wicked, the second movie, Wicked for Good. Not right at this very second, but if you want to wait till you see the movie and you haven't seen the movie,
and if you've been living under a rock and you never saw it on stage, the 20 years that it was on stage,
we can't help you. I can't help you. But
truly, we talked about that in the first episode. You were like, don't spoil it for her. Don't spoil it for her.
I kept doing it.
And you were telling me not to read any articles and not to do this.
And you did it anyway.
I said, I want to be able to have an intelligent conversation about it. And I want to know what's in the stage production versus the movie. So I actually went on YouTube and watched a stage production of Wicked from beginning to end so that I knew the storyline before going into the theater.
Do you think that accented your experience? And then I'll come back to your first question.
I think I just wanted to know the ending.
Okay.
I can try to convince myself why it was necessary, but truly I think I was just curious and didn't want to wait for the movie to come out.
Fair enough. Yeah, so you were kind of talking about Glenda, who was called out for these promises that she's making, and you mentioned a white savior complex. And I think we're going to be talking about this issue a little bit more later because it becomes pertinent when we discuss the second film. But it's this idea of intent versus impact. Now, Glenda, in that scene, or Galinda, as she is known at that point, I don't think is really saying these things for altruistic purposes. I think she wants to be perceived as someone good. Even one of the side characters, Fanny, I believe, played by the illustrious Bowen Yang, who's just so hilarious. I love him on SNL. He's walking up the stairs and he goes, "Oh, I don't see color," which is hilarious and it's funny, but it really is like a sharp knife twist in the knowing what our society is like as well.
And we might have talked about this previously in the last episode that we recorded. I don't see color is something that my mom said frequently when I was growing up. And it discounts the experiences of someone that is a minority.
Yeah.
If you don't see their color, you don't see your differences. If you don't see your differences, you can't consider how their upbringing might have been more difficult, might have been challenging.
Generational trauma.
You know, there are a lot of things that are ignored or maybe brushed under the rug if you say, I don't see color.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about from the first movie was how Madame Morrible plays a part in telling the Aussians to fear Elphaba.
Yeah.
She says her green skin is just an outward manifestorium of her twisted nature.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you say something doesn't mean it's true.
Mm-hmm.
But as one of the lyrics in the second movie says, truth is just what everybody agrees on.
Mm-hmm. I actually thought about that a lot because actually on the drive to work today, I thought about it a lot. I was playing the Wicked 2 soundtrack, and it kind of got me thinking about this goes on in our politics today, right? People will say something and others will perceive it as true. And then when the person who made the comment comes back to correct it, or maybe add more context, no one hears that. What they hear is what they first heard. And anything else is just confirmation bias for them. Confirmation bias being, they can hear 15 ways to Sunday different theories, but if there is one sentence or a couple words that confirm how they feel, regardless of all the other evidence, they're going to latch on to that. Like I think about Pizzagate, that they were like, oh, we're selling children. They're selling children in the pizza thing, the pizza parlor.
That was what, when was that, 2019?
19 or 20, I think. Yeah.
So I don't want to get down a political rabbit hole, but there have been a lot of parallels, I think, drawn in media recently about Wicked and the current administration and U.S. politics.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go too far down that road, but, suffice it to say that propaganda and repeating things, be it on social media or Twitter, can convince a lot of people of a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of a conversation we just had with a client. When you get arrested and the news articles are released that you've been arrested, it shouldn't be shocking anymore. It happens so often. The arrest gets everyone's attention. It's the talk of the town, especially in rural communities. If and when 2.5 or 3 years later, you are exonerated, found not guilty, plead down to a lesser offense that is not even a felony offense, nobody cares to read those stories.
No, the original article is going to be the thing that people just kind of sink their teeth into.
So it's not just the confirmation bias, it's also that desire, that clickbait, that, news flash, drawing attention to big arrests, big bonds, and then not so much interest in a positive resolution or even a neutral resolution. Like the state didn't win, the defense didn't win, but the case is over and everybody can move on with their life. That's not newsworthy. People don't want to read that.
And
it's not juicy.
It's not juicy, and they don't even think to remove the articles once they're out there and either someone is acquitted or, they've taken a lesser deal. that's not interesting to report on.
Yeah.
In their eyes, I think. But before we get into more law stuff, I read this post on Threads that made me laugh about the new Wicked movie, and this is just kind of something that I thought was hilarious. So there was a girl who had posted, I was completely thrown off the movie because Jeff Goldblum as the wizard, he said, "Oh my Lord," not "Oh my Oz." And I didn't answer her. In my head, I'm like, my sister in Christ, he is from Nebraska. My sweet sister in Christ. He's from Nebraska. Like, no, he would say, "Oh my Lord." But I thought that was really funny. And she was like, movie ruined.
Because he didn't say, "Oh my Oz."
Oh my Oz. He's from Nebraska.
People are crazy. People find a lot of things to be mad about.
Well, let's talk about that, actually.
Well, one more note from the first movie.
Yes, please.
Glinda, at the end, before the big Defying Gravity finale, Elphaba says, "Come with me. Think of what we can do together." And Glinda goes and gets a cloak and puts it on her and says, "You're shivering, you must be cold." And she puts this cloak on her, but she can't look her friend in the eye and say, "No, I'm not coming."
Right.
Why is that?
I think at that point, for Glinda at least, she had sort of already made up her mind and nothing was going to change it. Just like we were talking about,
But why can't she say it?
I think that Glinda has a hard time disappointing people and doesn't want to come right out and say what it is that she's decided. She'll use her actions to show what she's decided, but she fears rejection herself, even if in that moment she's rejecting Elphaba.
In order to build a better friendship, I recommend radical candor.
Yeah. I think that, I agree with that, radical candor.
Also, it's in the script.
It is. But I think that radical candor expressed with love is the way to do it. I think we're good at that.
Reading about radical candor, and the author talks about the combination of care and compassion, because you want that person to be better, you want that person to improve, so you have to be honest with them. So the candor is the honest. The radical is not just about doing it in the moment and doing it in like right when the thing happens, that whatever you need to be honest about, but also it's radical in the sense that you're using a sympathetic or compassionate approach.
Right. I mean, I don't think that bookends need to happen. They always say, like,
shit sandwich.
Start with the compliment, then go in and end with it. I don't need it.
No.
Who needs it? But I think coming from a place of, like, we're trying to make things better here, and here is what I need from you and what you need from me, that's a good place to be. And
that does happen in Wicked Part 2.
It does.
When Elphaba says they need somebody to be wicked so that you can be good.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Elphaba in the second movie, because it's not a complete 180, of course, but Elphaba and Glinda start to sort of switch roles a little bit. Because Elphaba, I think of the scene when she sees the animals kind of going under the yellow brick road. They're going to go hide out somewhere. And Elphaba says, "No, you need to stay and fight. There's no place like home." And these animals, if they are caught, are going to be put in cages, and they're going to be stripped of their voices. And Elphaba wants them to take up arms with her. And, whether or not that's right or fair, I'd love to get your opinion on it.
So it's interesting that she's asking them to take that risk that is not necessarily the same risk for her.
Right.
So she may not be an animal, but she's definitely at risk of being captured. She's at risk of being killed if they catch her, but she can fly away.
Yeah.
You know, the bears, the tortoises, the whoever's, the animals that she's talking to may not be able to get away as easily as she can.
Yeah.
And so each person has to make their individual choice about what fight they're willing to fight and to what degree they're willing to fight. And that goes the same with lawyers, you know?
Yes.
We all have varying degrees of how hard we want to fight certain issues. People will say, I want a bulldog, you know, I'm going to hire that lawyer over there.
Oh, how many times have I heard that? I need a bulldog. People think that if you yell at people, that makes you a good lawyer. And I'm like, no.
But there is something to be said for a fighter.
Yeah.
Not every lawyer is going to go into court and fight the fight. Some lawyers are more worried about political aspirations. Some lawyers are more worried about appeasing different people in the community. Some lawyers are more worried about connections for different reasons.
Yeah.
If you have no ties, you know, keeping you from fighting a particular fight, and your client wants you to fight that fight, some people have varying degrees of how far they will go.
Right.
And I think that's the same with people in the community, people fighting for their own rights, the rights of immigrants, the rights of others. It's like, what cause do you want to take up?
Right.
And to what degree are you willing to?
Or able to.
Like immigration. They say tons of Border Patrol agents or ICE agents are going to go to New Orleans. So many people that I'm connected with are saying, if you own or run a business in the New Orleans metro area, don't let ICE in, don't serve them. If you're a business owner and you could potentially make a few $100s on serving ICE agents lunch, are you going to refuse them when it affects your bottom line?
Right. And that, you know, that's a question everybody has to answer for themselves. I know how I would answer. You know, I want to protect the people who are here very much. And I assume you feel the same way, but you're right. Everybody has their own individual set of morals and ethics and boundaries. And we just can't force that on other people.
But we need people like Elphaba in the community to make people aware that there is community in that fight.
Yes.
If you want to take up arms, if you want to fight this issue, I'm here, I'm fighting the issue, I'm standing up for your rights, and we can do it together.
Yeah.
You'll never have to do it alone.
And kind of veering off on that, what's also interesting to me is that we see Glinda repeating what Elphaba said at the end of the first movie, you know, when she sings "Together We're Unlimited." And she tries to pull Elphaba.
When they go swinging on that little rope swing.
That's pretty cool. I love that. I want to do that. That would be pretty fun. We're children, really. But they're both, you know, it's Glinda's turn to try to get Elphaba safe.
That's an interesting turn of events in the second movie, how the wizard is trying to convince Elphaba to stay.
Yes.
And in the first movie, it was just Elphaba and Glinda in that dark tower. Think of what we can do together. And now it's the three of them, Glinda, Elphaba, and the wizard, dancing. Are they dancing to Wonderful?
It's wonderful, yeah.
And so the wizard is offering a place for Elphaba to come and be a part of what they got going on. And Elphaba agrees.
I also want to just kind of point out that I think that is a strength in the movie that kind of makes our point for us. In the musical, Glinda is not in Wonderful at all. It's just Elphaba and the wizard singing, and she's sort of starts to give in. But I like having Glinda there because it just proves that their friendship is still very real, regardless of the separation, regardless of Glinda letting her do this alone. I really, really enjoy that, and it just makes it such a more dynamic scene. And I think, you know, ultimately, when it comes down to it, our clients or anyone in the criminal justice system, they just don't want to feel alone. They want to be heard. They want an opportunity to have their story out there. And that's where we stand. We stand next to them and in front of them in the criminal justice system so that they have those advocates. We are called to zealously advocate for our clients. We take an oath to zealously advocate for our clients. And part of that is just showing them that they are not alone. You know,
and we don't necessarily have to be their voice.
No,
we don't have to speak for them. We can give them the platform to speak, whether it's taking the stand or managing the public relations of their particular case. We're advocates in a lot of different ways.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting to see that, I think, and see it mirrored in the film.
So when Elphaba agrees to the wizard's proposal, again, I think she presents a counteroffer. She will take his offer if he releases the animals.
Right.
He releases, does he specifically say he's going to release the monkeys or release the animals?
I've seen it twice. To be honest, I don't recall, but I know that he, as a gesture of good faith, you know, people, he's something. You know,
it's a piece of work.
He's a piece of work. In order to do that, he does.
I get called that in my relationships.
A piece of work.
I'm a piece of work.
A piece of work. That Teresa. You know what's funny is when the musical first came out, I think it was 2004, 2005. Anyway, when it came out, you know, of course, musical theater kids, we were like absolutely obsessed with it. And so we started naming our cars after Wicked characters. And mine was Chistery the Camry.
That's interesting.
Because they both start with C's. So I had little Chistery the Camry, who was my dad got a brand new car, and I got his 1998 Toyota Camry in brass gold. So that was great. That is so off topic, but you know, the world deserves to know us.
I like it. I like those little antidotes.
Yeah, kind of fun.
So, what were we talking about? The
release of the animals.
Right. So after they make this agreement, he makes her this offer of, I think you were calling it an offer of good faith or something. When he gives her the
quote
key.
unquote, yeah.
Yeah. So he gives her a key so that she can do the honors of unlocking the cage to release the animals. She unlocks it, a bunch of monkeys fly away, and we think, yay, they're free. But moments later, Chistery comes back, and he can't talk, but he goes,
Yeah.
He's nudging Elphaba to go look at something.
That was such a great interpretation. That was a great impression. Wait, can I hear it one more time?
No.
I think we need to hear it one more time.
No.
What if I do it with you on the count of 3? One more time, please.
What value does that bring to this podcast?
Joy. Nothing but joy.
I'll do anything for the bit.
Oh my God, I was about to get off and like do a lap.
Okay. And then this giant picture of a wizard gets rolled away, and Elphaba can see down into a tunnel that there are a lot of caged animals. And so he wasn't going to release all of them in connection with their agreement. He wasn't going to say anything about all of those caged animals.
Nope.
So she thinks in that moment, he can't be trusted. He has lied. He has breached, their agreement and misled her. And I think with her powers in that scene, unlocks all the cages, and they all start running away.
Fraud in the inducement.
And ruining Glinda's wedding.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that was going to turn to shambles anyway. But I think, that marriage kind of needed to be ruined.
It wasn't a marriage yet. They were betrothed.
And I think Fiyero would have.
Do you think he would have said the vows? Do you think he would have said
absolutely. I do. I think he would have married her, been a good husband to her, tried to help where he could. He was vehemently trying to find Elphaba before anyone else did.
Did that happen in the stage production? I don't remember specifically if they were about to say their vows and then he left, or if, when did he tell Glinda, I want to be with her?
So that really doesn't happen in such succinct terms in the musical. We don't have a wedding scene at all. They're just kind of engaged. He starts disengaging a bit and then comes to Elphaba's aid. And we pretty much get the scene of where he comes in and points a gun at Glinda and, escapes that way, but sacrifices himself. And so
he kind of comes in, and Elphaba had told the wizard, you need to do this or else.
You're a fraud.
He comes in and points a gun at Elphaba first and then turns it to Glinda?
Yes.
And
in the musical, he swings in like Tarzan, and it's really funny.
Can I get a Tarzan?
Well, hand me a rope. I'd be happy to. He swings in like Tarzan and drops down with his gun and yells, "Let the green girl go." It's very funny. A moment of levity before, he gets gets the stuffing beat into him, I guess, would be the proper way to put it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Well, we gave a spoiler alert. Travion hasn't seen it yet. Travion, our producer. Hi, Travion. Thank you so much for producing this, even though we're spoiling the entire movie for you. We appreciate you. I made the grave error of not thanking Travion last time.
Oh,
so.
Shame on you. We could send him cookies. We could bake him cookies.
That'd be a good crumble cookies?
We can order crumble cookies for him.
Oh my God. Yeah. Can we get one of the crumble cookies?
Not for you, for Travion.
But can I have one? What is it? The one with the
You don't always get to choose the flavors. They change the flavors every week. So whatever you got the first time you had crumble, you might not see it again.
Was it like Snickers or something? I don't know. It was delicious. Okay, so Fiyero
points the gun at Glinda.
Says,
let the green girl go.
And this is in the stage musical. And
locks the wizard in the birdcage, right?
That does not happen in the stage musical.
But I think that's the same scene where he's pointing the gun at Glinda. Does he lock him up?
I think I'm getting a couple things conflated right now.
That's okay. I do too.
But I know that we don't really physically see in the stage musical. We don't see the wizard or Madame Morrible getting their comeuppance.
Oh, and you know what? There's a scene where they're in the town with the house that has landed when he goes, I'm going with her. Mm-hmm. So I was getting those two scenes confused.
Yeah.
When he ends up leaving with Elphaba, he doesn't physically get to leave with Elphaba because he gets captured.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I loved the flashes in the song No Good Deed of what's actually happening to Fiyero, because she gets these visions, right? So she's envisioning all of this. Now that we've transitioned to No Good Deed, I want to talk about it.
Transition to No Good Deed? Which comes first, As Long As You're Mine or No Good Deed?
As Long As You're Mine.
Because they have sex before he's a scarecrow. That's true. Spoiler alert.
Probably for the best.
And I was concerned about bringing my kid because I didn't know how sexy the sex scene was going to be.
It's not. It's pretty tame.
But I had dinner on Saturday night with some other friends who had seen it, and they said, she's wearing this like cardigan with her shoulder exposed. They lie down together. They wake up together. He doesn't have his shirt on, but it's not.
And God bless America for that one.
My sister in Christ.
My sister in Christ. God bless John Chu doing the Lord's work.
God bless Jonathan Bailey for all the sit-ups that he must do.
He's the sexiest man alive now. It was announced.
Says who?
Says whoever does this. Is it People magazine?
I don't know.
He's the sexiest man alive.
Okay.
I would agree, but he doesn't.
Prefer women.
He's a friend of Dorothy.
He's a friend of Dorothy.
And actually, he is in this movie.
So
he goes down the little yellow brick road with Dorothy and Dodo.
when Fiyero decides that he's going to go with Elphaba, he tells Glinda, I'm sorry, I'm going with her.
Mm-hmm.
He goes with Elphaba. They go into the woods to her little cabin hut situation, and they go to bed together. And one of the most pivotal lines, I think, is when she says, for the first time, I feel wicked.
I love that line.
Which is fascinating to me because she didn't do anything wicked to be the love that Fiyero chose.
Mm-hmm.
But she's best friends with Glinda, however you say her name. I feel like the goat. So Elphaba did not act on her impulses with Fiyero. She did not do anything inappropriate with Fiyero. She didn't go after him. She was just like, she had a connection with him. She had chemistry with him. It was super. It was great. But then after they go to bed together, at the end of that song, As Long As You're Mine, she says, for the first time, I feel wicked. And it's almost like an affair has occurred. It's almost like she stole Glinda's fiance. Mm-hmm. And that's not what happened.
Yeah. I think that sort of in that moment, I've always interpreted that line as being both, I'm with this man and I've never had a love like this. And I'm doing these things that are a little spicy. And so I feel wicked from that. And also wicked because this is Glinda's fiance and Glinda's my friend. I think I always thought it would happen.
I would object to that first interpretation, but I was really, really screwed up by religion when I was growing up. So,
that's true.
If anybody tries to tell me in my adult life that sex is wicked, I would...
Oh, no, sorry. Let me...
punch him in the nose.
Let me rephrase. Intimacy can be more than sex, obviously. We know that. But it's the first time that anyone has really touched her and wanted to touch her.
Why would she feel wicked about that?
I think she uses
it's the patriarchy.
I think she's utilizing the word wicked instead of being like, I feel sexy.
I feel horny.
Yeah. This is going to get a little e-box in our title.
Interpretation.
Okay.
Anyways.
I have two interpretations. I think it's a double entendre.
I object to the first one.
Okay. Well, you can do that. I appeal.
I loved As Long As You're Mine.
Yeah. Please note my intent to seek a writ on that.
Okay.
Thanks, Your Honor.
I listened to As Long As You're Mine on repeat yesterday. I love it very much. I love a love story. I love so much of that part of the storyline. Now, as far as No Good Deed Goes Unpunished, your favorite, when they're flashing to Fiyero turning into the Scarecrow.
Yes, which we don't know that's what's happening in the moment. We just think he's being beaten to death and hung up. Almost like in a crucifixion type of
But you
way.
can see it all if you have seen the stage production and if you know the backstory, you know which character is which when it comes to the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion.
Yes, absolutely. And but I just thought it was brilliant filmmaking, and it just goes to show that and I'm gonna make another parallel here. Sometimes when we make decisions for our clients, when we brainstorm, when we try to lead them one way, something else happens that completely throws off the whole thing. That could be a conversation with an ADA or a prosecutor that all of a sudden we're blindsided.
And you know, if you haven't seen the movie, you might not know why Fiyero turns into a scarecrow. When she realizes that he has been captured and he's going to be beaten or killed, Elphaba, starts working on a spell.
From the Grimmery.
She is saying, yeah, that
was pretty good. It was close. You were close.
And she says, I don't even know what I'm reading. She's trying to do a spell that protects him from being killed or his bones being broken. And you start to see, like, well, if he was a scarecrow and he's stuffed, he would not be bruised or broken.
And in the first movie, and when they first meet and she storms off, she says, get stuffed.
I didn't remember that.
There's a lot of little Easter eggs.
That's so funny.
Oh, and the choreography. Now I can talk about this. And the choreography in Dancing Through Life, some of the moves are the Scarecrow's dance moves from Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. See, I need to rewatch The Wizard of Oz and Wicked Part 1 now.
It's just like, it's so good.
So she's singing in No Good Deed Goes Unpunished about how her working these spells sometimes have an opposite effect.
Yeah.
Or not an opposite effect, but
unexpected.
Some unexpected, and maybe in the criminal world, we have collateral consequences.
100%.
So you can enter into a plea agreement that seems like it's in your best interest in this moment, but you didn't realize that it's going to suspend your license for another year. Well, part of lawyering is figuring out what consequences there are, and we can't always know everything, but
we don't know how the Department of Corrections is going to handle things. They're their own entity.
Whenever we have prison sentences, oftentimes our clients will ask us, how much time am I going to have to serve on this 5-year sentence? And if, Title 15, 574.4 or Title 15, 571.3 says you should get X percentage of good time, or you should be parole eligible after X percentage of time served, that doesn't always play out. Like, each case is different. Each case has different things. And if you have a bad record, crimes of violence, or if you have bad behavior while you're serving your sentence, all of those things can affect whether or not you get good time. And parole eligibility is just that. It's an eligibility date. It's not necessarily that you're going to get paroled. So it's complicated, and we can't always know the consequences, but we can advise on things that we do know. Like, if you plead to a crime involving moral turpitude, it may affect your immigration case, will likely affect your immigration case. So there are some consequences that are predictable, some consequences that aren't. But in Elphaba's case, she didn't even know how to hone her powers at the beginning.
Right.
So she can't know how things are going to play out. When she was reading the spell from the Grimmery in the first movie, she didn't know how Chistery was going to grow wings. She didn't know that was going to happen. He flies up, he immediately falls down, he's hurting, she can't undo it. She didn't know any of that stuff in the first movie.
And one of the monkeys stole, in the first movie, stole Glinda's sweater, and he's wearing it in the second movie.
I did not notice that.
So look out for it. It's actually really adorable. I love the flying monkeys. My in-laws were the flying monkeys for Halloween, and boy, did they bring it.
I loved that costume. They looked like 80s break dancers.
It was incredible.
With wings and gorilla masks.
Yeah. I mean, and they built their wings. They're amazing.
It was the cutest.
They're such artists.
So in No Good Deed Goes Unpunished, she references Nessa Rose. Tell our audience a little bit about Nessa Rose and how that turns into Bog being the Tin Man.
Absolutely. So Nessa Rose, as we know from the first film, is Elphaba's little sister. She is bound in a wheelchair. She can't. There's a whole backstory on why she's in the chair and paralyzed. But when her father dies, Nessa becomes the governor of Munchkinland, as her father had once been, and Elphaba returns to Nessa as she wants to rekindle maybe some of their relationship. Also, she sees that Nessa is maybe turning down a darker road. She wants her help as the governor to help her in her mission of freeing these animals because they'll listen to her. Meanwhile, Nessa, who has fallen in love with Bach, the little munchkin from the first movie.
Can we just talk about the fact that he does not seem shorter than anybody else?
I know.
Why are the Munchkins not short? And why do we assume that the Munchkins need to be short? Is it from The Wizard of Oz?
It's from The Wizard of Oz, yeah. And all that stunt casting, but...
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so Bach, who duly noted is a perfectly normal average height, Nessa has fallen in love with him, and she's essentially keeping him captive to keep him with her. Bach sees a newspaper article about Fiyero and Glinda getting engaged, and we'll come back to that in a moment. So Elphaba and Nessa get in a fight. Nessa says, "You've used your spells on everything, but you've never helped me." And so in the musical, she does a spell on the shoes. The shoes turn ruby red, which I think is a very nice callback to Wizard of Oz, because in the book, The Wizard of Oz, they are silver, but they had just, when they were filming Wizard of Oz, Technicolor was a new thing, so they wanted them ruby red. But anyway, I digress. So Elphaba tries to help her. In the stage musical, she becomes able to walk. That's a very ableist thing.
They didn't want to do that in the film because they wanted to respect the fact that she is an actress that is wheelchair bound, and that's okay. She is perfect the way that she is. She does not need to be something different.
Absolutely. So the spell causes her to be able to essentially take flight. And so she calls in Bach. She's very excited. Now they can be together.
But time out.
Yeah.
When he tried to leave Munchkinland,
the first time,
she changed the laws to say no Munchkin can leave Munchkinland without a travel permit. So in the time that it took him to go pack a bag, after he learned that Glinda was getting married, he got to the train station and they were like, "Sorry, you can't get on the train without a travel permit." She had changed the laws to keep him captive in that way.
Yeah. So when Bach returns and sees that Nessa is out of the chair, he says something along the lines of, sings something along the lines of like, "I'll matter less to you now." And he tells her that, he has to go see Glinda, tell her how he feels. Nessa goes, opens the grimoire, tries a spell. Elphaba tries to stop her. The spell shrinks Bach's heart. And so Elphaba does the best that she can to make it so that Bach won't need to have a heart. And the best that she can do is turn him into the Tin Man. So it's kind of all these unexpected consequences, which is what we were just talking about in the criminal justice field. You don't necessarily think about the consequences of pleas or trial. People, we've had clients.
It's our job to think about those things.
Yes.
I've been criticized by clients in the past. I want a strategist. I want a lawyer that is a strategist.
Yes.
And you might be good at thinking on your feet and you might be creative and you might have a lot of good ideas, but I want a strategist. So it's important that lawyers know and advise accordingly about consequences.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of all the potentials that can come from it. The big thing for me is if, a lot of people will want to go to trial based on principle, right? Maybe our client wasn't treated with respect as human beings are entitled to. Perhaps the investigation was shoddy. But we see the writing on the wall that if we go to trial, there is enough evidence to convict. And maybe they're offered an absolutely sweetheart deal. We had this happen mid-trial once. But we respect our clients' wishes. But what I tell them, my concern always is, we can pick a perfect jury. We can put on a perfect case. But what it comes down to, and by the way, there are no perfect juries, there are no perfect cases. But let's go to the realm of Oz for a moment. And there are perfect juries and are perfect cases. We can put that on, but you're still standing in front of 12 strangers who do not know you from Adam. They don't know you. They don't know that we have all three laughed together, joked together. We know their families. We're close with the families. Those 12 strangers don't get to see this person as a person. And part of that is our job to humanize our client, but it is a risk. And sometimes
the judge would say
there's reward.
They should be deciding on the facts. Whether they see that person as a person or not, they should be deciding on the facts of the case. And they should apply the law to the facts of the case.
In a perfect world.
While we want to humanize our client, and it's part of our job to present them as, a fellow member of the community, someone that, is innocent until proven guilty, someone that can be trusted and has a good, physical appearance, looks trustworthy, and looks like a decent human being, not a criminal, the judge is going to say, they can't use that against him anyway. Even if they think he looks like a criminal, they can't use that against him. Well, okay, judge, they're not supposed to. But if you show up for trial and you've got face tats and you've got tattoos all down your hands, or maybe it says, fuck the wildlife and fisheries across your forehead.
Yeah.
Because that has happened.
Wait, what? Really?
Yes.
Louisiana is not a real place.
I'm just
Louisiana
saying,
is not a real place.
There is a very real impact on the jury in the way that you present yourself.
I did have a client show up to court one day when I was with the public defender's office. He was showing up for possession with intent to distribute marijuana. And his pants had marijuana leaves in a pattern all around them. And I went up to him. I saw immediate red. This guy
This was prior to the legalization in medical marijuana?
Well, it was PWIT. So it was a possession with intent to distribute anyway.
I mean, it's just an allegation.
Right, but
so maybe he was, a fan.
I literally ran over to him. I saw nothing but black and red. But apparently I was pale as anything. And I ran up. I'm like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? And he's like, oh, it's just my pajama bottoms. I'm like, do you have other clothes in the car? And of course he smells like a weed factory.
Turn them inside out, buddy.
I know. And then he's like, no, not really. And that's exactly what I said. I said, go to the bathroom, flip that inside out, and put it back on, and then come back in this courtroom. Do not come back in this courtroom if I can see one marijuana leaf. And while you're in there, wash your face. What?
His face smelled like marijuana?
Wherever. I mean, you smell like weed, my friend. And I don't have a problem with people who smoke weed. I really don't. It's legal. Do it. It's not for me, but I prefer rosé. But do what you want. but don't come to court on a weed charge smelling like a cannabis factory.
Even if you're, you know, facing charges that are completely trumped up, facing charges that are absolutely false, it matters how you present yourself. And
exactly,
you know, if your lawyer is going to say it was less than 14 grams, it was for personal use, he has a prescription for it, whatever the defense is, the judge may have some preconceived notion or like bias or prejudice if you come into court advertising your love of marijuana on your pantalones.
So it was a little wonky.
So
we get that, but we do get that sometimes, and that's okay. We deal with it.
It's important that you know when you're approaching that decision, trial or plea, that oftentimes a plea is a sure thing and a trial is a risk.
A plea is a thing that...
Because we can't make any guarantees.
Right. Plea is a date you can put on the calendar and circle. My former boss with the public defender's office, you know, would always say, I just don't want, like, especially if people are offered like 10 or 15 years, that's a long time, right? And he said, I don't want you to get to that 15-year mark and think I could be going home today. But instead I have to serve 50 more. And I thought that was very profound. But again, as criminal defense attorneys, we are not trying to, we're not trying to just plead people out. We're not trying to just stick people in the system.
We aren't.
No, the state very much is.
Some defense lawyers very much want people to take a deal even when they don't want it.
Right.
And the law doesn't condone that. The professional and ethical duties that we are supposed to adhere to do not condone that.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes a lawyer will say, you know, you need to take this. It's in your best interest. I'm advising you to take it. And while that may very well be true from that lawyer's perspective, the client is maintaining, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. Why aren't you fighting for me?
Right.
And that is a very difficult conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because I can fight till I'm blue in the face and they will still convict you.
It's tough out there.
It is tough. But before we go down that avenue, because I could spend hours talking about that.
Me too.
Let's talk about the finale of Wicked for Good, which is...
I don't think we can.
That beautiful song.
I love it.
Because I knew you.
Oh my God, I love it so much. So For Good means a lot to me. It was, I'm 38 now, in case y'all forgot from our first Wicked episode. I'm 38. It was my senior recital, and I sang it with my best friend. She was Glinda and I was Elphaba. And my senior recital, my best friend was like a year behind me in school. So I was leaving her and going to New York for college. And I cried like a baby. And
in your senior recital, or you mean in the theater?
After that song, we hugged on stage and I cried because I was going to miss her so much. And that was always like our song. We sang it every day. And I went up to see her in Tennessee recently. I've been twice to see her. This was the first visit. And her dad was still alive at the time. He was not doing well. He had a not glioblastoma, but he had a very rare, very aggressive form of cancer. And we got to sing it for him again. And it had been 5 years since I'd seen her in person. And again, I bawled like a baby. And every time I sing that song, I just get so emotional. And, you know, there's, okay, I guess we're doing this now. So my mom has been sick my whole life. She's currently...
No pressure.
No pressure. No, I know. I guess we're doing this now. But there's... She's had a cancer recurrence. We're still getting details. She's strong. She's defeated this twice. She can do it a third time.
But when you went to see the movie on Friday, that was very fresh in your mind.
It was very fresh in my mind because she came and told me on Friday. So I spent the day with her, just trying to lighten spirits, have fun. And one of the things that we did was we saw Wicked because we've seen it 20 times together. But then in For Good, that line, Elphaba sings, "It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime." I was inconsolable. I had on a huge, like an oversized denim jacket that I had pulled over, and my hands were covered down, and I was just
You had your mommy
weeping.
there with you. Why didn't you just like weep in her lap?
Because this was in the way. I did weep in her lap later. I'm doing okay with it. I'm blocking things out. But then when I saw it with my partner Morgan the next day, sure enough, again, there she goes. But I do like, so that song is very meaningful for me. And it was my senior quote, like this stupid song. But I love the idea of you don't really know how someone's going to change you, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad, if it's going to be neutral. But the people that we come into contact with change us irrevocably. So I think about our clients, who come in. I think about their struggles. I think about their frustrations, maybe our frustrations, because we have feelings too. And sometimes clients are frustrated with the system, and we're the ones that are kind of standing in that loop. So we take the brunt of the frustration, which we are happy to do, right?
Not always happy.
Not always happy. Well, we're not happy to do it, but we do it because we know it's not personal. It's not personal. It's about the system, which honestly is, if I were in it, I would be furious as well.
It's a very big broken system, and we are just one part of it.
Yes, and we are part of the system, which it is what it is. But, I think about those clients that come in and are able to teach me something. And not just that it's against the law to go crabbing at a certain time of year. I remember when I read that bill of information and I was like, this is not real.
You didn't know about fishing seasons?
I was like, I know you're lying.
There's shrimp seasons. There's May season.
I knew there's crawfish season.
There's
I know
crawfish
that.
season. And there's oversized and undersized. You can't catch just any size during the season.
You've got to be joking.
Not joking.
We have people going to jail over catching a dang crab.
And you know what?
Out of season.
Those wildlife and fisheries fines are very expensive.
Louisiana is not a real place. The Bayou region, are y'all okay? Do you need me here?
We can't feed our families because we can't keep the redfish unless they're a certain size.
This is the most unbelievable thing. Everything I hear about the Bayou region. So I was working in Jefferson Parish and Orleans Parish, right?
I promise there's a reason for it, okay?
Okay, well, I'm sure.
If you catch them real little, then they can't grow and get bigger and have babies. So there's a limit.
But to make it a crime?
Sorry.
Like a conviction on your record.
Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
A conviction on your record, Teresa. Is it a felony or a misdemeanor? It's a felony? Oh, thank God. I really need to educate myself on these laws because I'm used to drugs, murders, rapes, all of that. I walk in here, see a bill of information. Oh, yeah, you went crabbing at the wrong time. And I was like, where am I? I felt like I was Dorothy, like dropped in Oz. Like,
you're not in Kansas
I
anymore.
am not in Kansas anymore. No. But all of these people, just like all of our clients, change who I am, the fabric of who I am. And some teach me to be stronger. Some teach me to have better humor. Some teach me about responsibility and timeliness.
A lot of my clients have taught me about accountability.
Yeah.
You know, when you tell somebody who's incarcerated that you're going to come back and see them in a couple of weeks, they really want you to come back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's easy enough.
Don't like get their hopes up and tell them that you're going to do something that you don't intend on doing.
Correct.
And we might have the best of intentions, but practically it doesn't work out to come back in 2 weeks because we have trials. So
And fires to
manage your calendar and honor your commitments, and also work hard and bust your ass and go to the jail at night or on weekends if you have to hold yourself accountable to what you said you would do.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the biggest lesson that I've learned and how my clients have taught me and changed me for the better.
I think, I really like the accountability. It is tricky sometimes. It's because we also have lives and tragedies and things that happen.
We're lawyers. We're like really good at coming up with excuses. So we can come up with excuses for why we couldn't do what we said we were going to do. But there's also usually a counter argument and a limit to, okay, what's your excuse this time?
Well, one of my excuses was my car said that there were wildfires and you should not drive through the wildfire.
There are no wildfires in the swamp.
Apparently it's burning sugarcane. And I said, okay, Teresa, next time I will drive through the fire.
She goes, I'm going to be 20 minutes late because I had to reroute because there are wildfires. And I was like, that's not true. But I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm just saying you should not believe that there are wildfires.
It's like, would you like to reroute and not put yourself in mortal danger? And I was like, yep, correct. And Teresa was like, should have kept driving, but nicely. But then, like, okay, it has been a year for me. Like, I got assaulted at a Shell station, and I
thought I could leave town and leave you and Bria here to run the office,
and it just fell apart without you. But I dealt with what I needed to deal with. I was back at work the next day. Then I had emergency surgery and was down for the count for about a week and a half. I was in the hospital for 4 or 5 days.
And now mom's sick.
So,
and we can't tell mom we don't really have time for you to be sick, mom.
Right. And you went through the same thing with your mom. I don't mean to like out your thing.
That's okay. Yeah. It's perfect. It's perfectly fine. 2 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and we lost her. She was diagnosed in March, and she died October 23rd. So during that time, I had to navigate a lot of figuring out how I can balance parenting, single parenting, having my kid most of the time, and visiting with mom, being there with mom, going to appointments with mom or not, and running a business and having trials and going to the jails. And it's hard. It's hard managing it all. It's hard taking on new clients, knowing that I'm going to be gone for a while to take care of mom on hospice. At one point, I said, I'm not taking any new cases right now. I'm not taking any new cases till the end of the year. And I just left. I told Bria, I'm going to go to Oakdale, and I don't know when I'm coming back. And she said, you're going like for good? I said, well, I'm going until she dies. I'm certain that it's imminent. So I'm just going to go, and I'm going to be there, and I don't know how long it's going to take. And it was about 4 weeks later when she died. So we are grateful that we had that time with her, between March and October, that we got to spend time with her. But equally grateful that it didn't drag out for years, because so many people suffer for years in pain or bedridden. And she knew, she was a firm believer in the Lord, and her faith was that because she had accepted the Lord as her Savior, that she was going to go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And her belief is when you go to heaven, you praise the Lord for eternity, and there's no sadness and no fear and no anger and no nothing bad happens in heaven. So in her mind, she's like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. And she would say, when she was bedridden, she would say, give me my shoes. I'm going on a trip. Where are you going, Mom? To heaven. You want to come?
Not right now.
Not particularly.
Not yet, Mama.
And I'm not ready for you to go while we're at it.
Oh my gosh. I think generally the point is that the people that we put in our path, whether it's clients or bosses or legal secretaries or their children, your children, my friends, my partner, these people all come into our lives and change us irrevocably. And I think I mentioned on the earlier podcast that it takes a certain type of person to be a criminal defense attorney. And we are those people. But like you say, I think you said something like this in text, as long as we're, honest with each other and open to holding space for one another, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So to have someone like you in my corner means the world, and you definitely have changed me for good.
Aww.
and for the better.
And I hope as you navigate this process with your mom that you remember all of the lessons that you've learned from her and with her and how she's changed you for good.
100%. So she's made me a fighter, the fighter I am. And then my dad helped me with my customer service voice. And
Dad had a career in HR, right?
He did.
I probably need to take some notes from him.
He did. Dad
Having
was
never
an
managed
HR
anyone
guy.
before.
I think you're doing great.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I know how to politely tell people to, get out of my way. It would be great if we could just, you could go over there and maybe call me again when you're a little calmer.
Is that your customer service voice? Yeah. Well, I think we have to wrap up. We have a 2:30 appointment, and it is past 2:30.
It is.
So
last thoughts, Teresa?
I am a Wicked fan for life, Team Elphie for life, and Fiyero is fine, but she owned the sex scene. I mean, she was super hot. She was super hot. And her sex cardigan is like making waves in the fashion world.
I want that.
I don't even know how. You would have to like live in it, and it needs to be tattered and torn for like ages.
I could probably crochet it.
I don't know. Good luck.
Try.
Anyways, love it. Love the soundtrack for 1 and 2. Really loved As Long As You're Mine. And I hope that this has been a good opportunity for us to get into some parallels between Wicked and the criminal justice system, because that's something that I'm really passionate about.
And there are so many. And this is just one example that tends to be popular right now.
Yeah.
Popular. Just happens to be popular right now, but we're going to be coming at you with a lot more. Travion, thank you again for being such an awesome producer. And
you are awesome. Thanks, Trey.
Listen to his podcast, which is Convo Club.
It's the Convo Club.
Convo Club.
So we run a criminal defense firm here in Houma, Louisiana.
Yep.
You can find us on the web, teresakingesquire.com.
With no H.
With no H. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And on Facebook and Instagram, Teresa King, Elizabeth King. And if you want to call and make an appointment for a consultation, for expungements, for criminal cases in Lafourche or Terrebonne, the number is 985-333-4016. And Bria is our trusty assistant that will put you on the calendar.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in, listening to us ramble for so long, but we're having fun. So,
how did we close out? Did we say thanks for coming to the King's Court?
I think we did this.
No, we didn't, but we can.
We did, because you couldn't fit it under your house. But yeah, we'll do an outro. 1 on 3 again.
Are we saying thanks for coming to, or thanks for listening to?
Ooh. Well, no, because they can watch us too, see our pretty faces. So
thanks for...
this has been a news session. King's Court is adjourned.
Oh my God, that's cute. Thank you for coming to the King's Court.
We're now adjourned.